Hi, Dr. Emran here with SpringCure. Diets don't work. If you haven't heard it before, diets don't work, okay? I want to make sure that everybody is completely clear on that. The idea of dieting, where you put yourself on a regimen that you cannot sustain lifelong, is a bad idea. Because on one hand, you're probably leaving out some things that are probably pretty important for your health, and on the other hand, you can't sustain that because you're keeping yourself from eating something that you maybe enjoy. So those things make it so that diets are very, very hard to maintain. In fact, the average 45-year-old has been on multiple diets, dozens of diets over their lifetime. And if any one of them actually worked, they'd probably have been on one diet, and that would have been the end of it. But the reality is, diets simply don't work. So people say, well, you know, I know somebody who lost a tremendous amount of weight using low carb. Well, they probably made a lifestyle change along with that. It wasn't just a magic low carb diet. Now, the idea of leaving out any particular nutrient, low fat, low carb, low protein, whatever that may be, is really bad because we need every one of those nutrients. For example, our brain needs carbohydrates. Our brain needs sugar to function. If we go low carb and we eliminate sugar from our diet, our brain has no choice but to start using a secondary method for producing sugar. What is that method? Well, we start breaking down our own body muscle in order to make sugar to run our brain. Otherwise, we would die. And our brain wouldn't work. We'd have that brain fog that they're always talking about in the commercials. So you want to make sure that you have adequate amounts of carbs in your diet, but you want to choose healthy carbs. You want to make sure that you're taking sources of carbohydrates that are promoting health rather than interfering with health. So you want to avoid processed carbs, things like that come in packages and boxes, things like cookies and cakes and breads and pasta, and you want to add back in healthier carbs, things like vegetables and healthy fruits and whole grains. So those are the places that you should be getting your carbs. Now, low fat's been attempted for almost 50 years, and low fat has resulted in probably the entire problem with this obesity epidemic, the increase in cardiac disease, the increase in diabetes. Why? Because low fat, when they make things low fat, they usually add carbs in place in order to keep it tasting good. When you take the fat and you replace carbs, that also makes you hungry faster. So your blood sugar goes high, that causes fat storage, and when the blood sugar drops, you get hunger, and that happens very rapidly. Okay, we talk about glycemic index in one of the other videos and share a little bit of more information about that. But we need fat. Fat is essential for every single cell in our body. Not only does it make the outside of every single cell in our body, it also is important for forming the insulation in our brain and our nervous system. So we start getting aches and pains and foggy thinking when our insulation is breaking down. And fat is the primary energy source for our heart. Without enough fat in our diet, our heart starts to malfunction because it doesn't have the energy it needs to function properly. Protein is absolutely essential for building our muscles, and our muscles are a good portion of our fat-burning machinery. Not to mention, our heart is all of it is made out of muscle. And our fat-burning machinery is all those enzymes that help us release fat from the cells is all made out of protein. So without adequate protein, we can't function properly to lose weight. So you have to make sure that you have a balanced diet of healthy carbs, healthy fats, and healthy proteins. So you can't do a diet that leaves out one of these things completely, otherwise it's not sustainable because your body will rebel against this. A low carb diet, people see a lot of results in the first few weeks. Why is that? Well, because they're changing their habits dramatically. But within a week of low carb, you will actually stop fat burning. The only reason that weight loss continues after that period is because a lot of people will lose water weight during that time, because when you have those extra carbs, you also bring in excess water into the body, and when you start leaving out those carbs and you go into what's called ketosis as you increase your protein instead, then you start eliminating some of that excess water. So you got to make sure that you have a balanced diet, that you have plenty of healthy carbs, and that you have a treat day. You gotta have something that's maintainable. So if you have a treat day, every week you do a couple of amazing things. Number one, you keep yourself motivated to make it through the week because you know you have a day off, you know you have a day of rest, you know you have a day to look forward to. You can enjoy family occasions, holidays, birthdays, etc. And you also reset your fat-burning hormones. If you had lower carbs or even low glycemic for an entire week and you don't do anything at the end of that week, you may actually sabotage your weight loss because within 6 days, your fat-burning hormones drop in their function by as much as 50%. By 7 days, it's completely shut down. So that's why by the 7th day, you should be having your treat day so that you can keep yourself on track. So stay away from the diets and instead make a commitment to make a lifestyle change to be eating lower glycemic, healthy carbs, healthy protein, healthy fat. Hope that helps, and we'll see you at the next video.